Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. And I'd like to say a very big welcome to Brandon. Thank you, Brandon, for coming on my episode. I'm so happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate the invite. This is the first one I've ever done, and I'm excited that it's with you.
Really?
Yeah,
That's super special. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm bringing Brandon to us because Brandon is a special person. His story is really interesting to me, and I think you'll agree. So I'm going to start, if I may, Brandon, by asking a little bit about um, where you were before you entered the field of real estate. What were you doing prior to getting into properties, lending, all that world?
yeah, absolutely. So I've actually owned a paint company for probably close to 20 years now.
Has it been
Um,
that long?
yeah, I think so. I'm getting old in a hurry.
Look who you're
But yeah, so
talking to.
it's been a great experience for me. It's kind of funny when I originally started it, I just kind of wanted to work by myself and not be around people. And the next thing I knew, we had a ton of employees and jobs running all over the place, and it just kind of grew really quickly and organically, and it's been a great experience being in the trades.
Wow. Tell us the name of your company.
It is a New View Paint Company. We're in Jackson, Michigan. We do Jackson, Ann Arbor, mostly probably 99% new construction. We do a lot of new, very high end houses. We're always on beautiful lakes working, enjoying, seeing everybody enjoy the lake while we're working away. But it's a good time.
Very nice. And it's New View Painting?
Yep, New View Paint Company.
Paint company. I love it. I love it. And it's nice that you're working with high end properties because I have seen your work and it's evidenced right in your room. And also on what you have shared because we're in the same some of the same groups and I've seen some of your posts and you have really high quality.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. To be honest, I just have a really good team. I grew up playing team sports, so building teams is what I enjoy doing. I love building relationships and meeting new people. And we just have a great group of guys that just, they care to do the best job they can. And it's really a nice thing to see. Everybody gets along, has a great time at work. We laugh, we give each other hell, make fun of each other, pull pranks, and have a good time.
I love it. I love it. And it's interesting because some people may say, hey, paint's paint. What's the big deal? Started in real estate as a young child, and my parents really weren't craftsmen, but I had to do a lot of painting, whether I liked it or not, because they were one of the ones that were like, okay, just throw paint on the wall. And I didn't like that. I wanted it to look as good as it could. So as I grew in my teens, and because I started as a child, well, as I grew in my teens and I started to get my own properties, I experimented a lot and I talked to the people who sell paints in the paint stores and such and learned, like so much of your work is in prep
Yep.
and laying the foundations properly and really taking the time. So in effect, it is like artisan work and the
And
quality, the difference between a job really well done and one that's not, I totally can appreciate because of that.
And isn't it funny how that just relates to everything else? The more work you do up front, the better it's going to turn out in the end.
Totally.
You lay that
100%.
foundation of good prep
Yep.
work.
Yep. And I enjoyed it a lot too. And I had thought, gee, if I wasn't a teacher or if I wasn't in sales, because I had my careers were in education and sales, I think I'd love painting. And at one time I said to a friend, I'd bought a very big house in Philadelphia and I wanted it painted. And my friend was female and she had a painting company and it was small. And I said, we should go into business together. And she goes, we would knock out all the men. Because one of the other things that's really important, especially if you're living in the property, is the cleanup. Like I'd go to a job site and I'd see like the guys left because, they'd closed up the cans and taken care of the brushes, but they didn't do any cleanup because why would they want to do that? They're going to just come back the next day. Meanwhile, the family had to kind of not use that area. So she had said she was meticulous about cleanup every single day. I said, that's a good selling point. But, we did not because it was a different road, that we both were. academics, so, but we just happened to
Nice.
really like painting, and she had started a job. I hear the puppy. My
Yep.
God.
1 second. I'm going to close this door.
Okay, that's all right. He can make his cameo if he would like.
I figured she probably would. She's a pup, so she likes to jump up here on my lap when I'm usually on here. But
I love it. I love it.
I think Amazon or something's here.
I get you. I get you. Do you have to go?
No, no, not at
Okay.
all.
Okay. Well, knowing that you've had a company for 20 years and that you're dealing with high end properties and clientele obviously speaks to your teamwork and speaks to your quality. Tell me about how you started in, you said you wanted to kind of be away from people, you started painting. Okay, why? What were you doing before then? And what made you go, I'm going to make money in painting? And how did you go from that to actually building a company?
Yeah. So I started out as a corrections officer working at a prison, and I did that for about a year and a half right out of high school. And I just realized that if I did it for another 30 years, I was going to be a miserable person. And so I quit that job and just randomly took a job as a painter because someone was looking for a painter. And I figured it was just something to get me through until I found something else. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I liked the feeling of being able to see something accomplished at the end of the day. And it just kind of took off from there. And then I started doing side jobs at night and on weekends. And the next thing I knew, I was building up clientele. And,
Nice. Did
the
they
'08
train you?
crash. Yep. I got trained by a guy that, was doing really high end stuff, was a phenomenal painter. And so, yeah, I learned from a good guy and was able to take all those things that he taught me and teach a lot of other people. And, one of the cool things that we've been able to do is a lot of the guys that have worked for us, we've helped them start their own businesses.
That
So,
is so exciting.
you always just want to try to help people improve. Like it's my favorite thing in the world to see somebody grow and improve their life and help their family out. So we've been able to help a lot of people get their start, and it's been pretty amazing.
Nice, nice. I think it's fantastic. How long was it before you decided, you were doing it on the side and you started to have your own clientele? When did you decide, wait, this is actually, I like it a lot. I want to do my own business and make it formal and make it my full time for me. How long did that take?
I would say probably about 3 years. I was working away. We were doing these multi-million dollar houses, and I got to the point where I could pretty much do them by myself. And so, I decided it was time to start trying to do some more on my own. And funny enough, not long after that, the 2008 crash happened, and new construction just stopped. So I ended up going and taking a job in a factory. They hired me as a mechanic to work on machinery. And my first day there, the painter didn't show up. And the boss was kind of being a smartass. Says, anybody know how to spray a paint? Yeah, actually I do. So I ended up spending the next year and a half in the spray booth spraying machinery. And then one day I came into work and they let 40 of us go permanently. And so,
Interesting. Very interesting.
yeah,
What kind of machinery was it?
they built engine blocks for cars. So they
Okay.
built the machines that actually build the engine blocks.
They built the machines that build the engine blocks.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. And you were
Yeah.
painting them. Okay. That's interesting, isn't it? Because we think about the factory, but we don't think about who who created the pieces for the factory.
Right.
And
Yeah.
where
So, I mean,
was this? And were
this was
you
in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
is that where you grew up?
No, I'm in Jackson, which is about a half hour west of there.
Okay.
Yeah, a
Okay.
little smaller town.
All right. But that general area, it's very pretty there.
Yeah, it is. I love it. We get all 4 seasons. My wife hates the winter time still, but I absolutely love it. So it's
Yeah, I
been,
understand. Because I'm in Chicagoland and winter is the entire year except for the summer when it's really hot.
yeah.
Anyways, it's just that I can understand her position. But when I was younger, I loved it. The reason I don't like it now is because arthritis is setting in, and
Oh, yeah.
it kicks my joints differently than it did when we could ski and we could cross country and downhill and things like that. I was fine with cold. It's only more recently, but that's interesting. So you decided, okay, I'm stuck in this booth here. How'd you get out of it? And you know
Yeah,
what?
like
It's interesting. I'm going to back up just a little bit.
yeah.
2008. How interesting, right? Because you'd think, well, people at the very top have money, so they're not going to be affected. No, because a lot of those people, as we know, the way you present yourself is one thing, but how deep is your wealth? That's another thing.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
I can imagine that it would have hit equally. So that must have been, hard to say the least. But when you went to this work and you ended up, spraying machinery, how long did you do it for and how did you feel about that?
I didn't mind it a bit. I was there for a little over a year. Yeah, I was happy doing it. We were working 12-hour days, 7 days a week.
But,
Yeah, yep, 12-hour days, 7 days a week.
well, you can do
So
that to a certain degree, but then you have to stop.
yeah, I was still young enough at the time. I was just happy to be making good money, and you know, I didn't have any time to spend it, so we were we were doing pretty good. So it wasn't a bad situation for me.
Who was we?
My wife Jennifer and I.
So you must have married young then.
Um, let's see. I am 46 now, and we've been married for 25 or 20. We've been together for 25 or 26 years. I think we're just
Wow.
about to hit our 20th anniversary.
God, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. It was the
That's awesome.
luckiest thing that ever happened to me.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that. And if it's not too presumptuous, may I share a picture?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Look at
No.
that. This is such a nice picture. Now, is that the pup we just heard a few minutes ago?
Nope. Unfortunately, that pup passed away about 2 years ago. That was Shy. That was her name.
Shy?
We got. Yep.
And was she
Yep.
shy?
Yes. Horribly. Horribly.
My God. Well, you know what? So this is a few years ago. Your son is so cute. I need to show one more picture, and I think it must be of Shy with your son. Let me see here. This picture is one of my favorite pictures. Oh, wait a minute. Can you see it? Nope. We
Nope.
can't.
That's it.
All right, hang on. Bear with me. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that it has to be on that screen. Um, hmm. Okay, I might be flipping through a lot of pictures real fast, so bear with me. No, I'm not.
Oh, there you
This
are.
picture is one of the most beautiful pictures I've seen. Is this Shy?
Nope. That is Lulu.
The one that was crying or that was talking?
Yep. Absolutely. She's about a year and a half now.
Love this picture. I just love it. A boy and his dog.
It doesn't get any better than that, does it?
No, it most certainly doesn't. You can tell that it's autumn. You can tell that their eye contact with the camera is just incredible, and they just, I mean, sorry, but it's just like real love.
Yes.
I, I,
100%.
I just, when I saw that, I said, "Oh, God bless his soul for letting me show it." Yeah, I love it. That could be entered in any competition, and it would absolutely win. Uh, it absolutely would. So you ended up with making good money. I haven't seen people survive more than a few months of 12-hour days nonstop. And I have seen my share because when I first married, husband was a mining engineer. So in a lot of places, where they're out of in Hicksville, and that sort of thing, like really far away, they fly them in or in the oil fields and they'll work 7 hour, 12-hour days, 7 days a week for, 2 weeks, 3 weeks max. And then they fly them back out or they have to take a break. So how
Yep.
did you do that for a year? That's incredible.
Well, I mean, outside of that, just being self employed, I did it for years, 12, 14-hour days. It didn't matter, and I did
Love
it for
what
so long that it got to the point that one day we were sitting down having dinner as a family, and my wife said, we kept track and you only took 3 Sundays off this year. And it just kind of hits you in the heart like, if they're keeping track, it's probably a problem. So that was when I started hiring more help and trying to scale back what I was doing as much. And it worked out great. We were able to take on more jobs because we had more help, and it really took a lot of the burden off of me doing everything myself physically.
Well, that's good because I have to say that you don't want to have burnout. And I've seen burnout. I've seen burnout from Wall Street.
I bet.
where I had a friend that, um, just worked so hard. And then, after what, 3, 4 years, and he was an avid reader. So when he wasn't working with his brain up here, constantly working on the stock market, he was still, it wasn't like any physical where you could still daydream to some degree, that sort of thing. You have to pay attention, but it's not quite the same as if you're always using straight focus. And he had a massive breakdown. It was terrible, just terrible. So whenever I hear that sort of thing, I'm like, how did you do that? But
You
that
know,
puts
it's
you
so funny to me. You see all these people online talking about, I'm going to be my own boss so I can set my own hours. And they don't realize the years that it takes of, giving up everything you've got, every spare minute you've got to build that business to where you get to the point where you can, spend some time with the family and,
right.
take some days off here and there.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So once you were faced with that, realizing you hadn't had enough time with the family, you started hiring and building more of a team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And was your clientele always the higher end, or did it ever fall into the mid?
Nope. The guy that I learned from was doing the high end houses. So that's where all my connections were. I made friends with a lot of the people we worked with because I try to make friends with everybody. I'm a relationship builder. I love talking to people, meeting people. And so when I decided to do things on my own, a lot of those relationships were willing to give me a chance.
That's awesome. And I agree with you with relationships. This is
Yeah.
the kind of property that you would paint?
That is actually my house.
That's your home?
Yep, that's the one that we built that about 5 years ago.
Ah, you know, when I looked at this picture, besides the fact that you've got a good eye, I mean, obviously I like that artistic sense. I thought to myself, that's a cornfield in the background, I think.
Yep.
And therefore it might be part of a farm, might not be. Look at the size of that yard. How large is this yard?
It's about 2 acres. So this
Okay,
was kind of our compromise when we were looking for land to build on. I wanted to be out in the country away from everybody so we could ride dirt bikes and shoot guns and be loud. And my wife wanted to be in a subdivision so that our son Lars had kids to play with. So our compromise was to find the biggest lot we could in a subdivision, and this was it.
very nice. And behind it, is it a farm that someone else owns?
Yep, yep.
Okay,
Right there's the property line in the back, and there's a
yep. Well,
big
it
farm
sure
behind us.
is beautiful. That must have been so much fun building your own home.
It really was. I always tell people I think it took a couple of years off my life, but it was fun.
Why do you say that?
Just because we tried to do everything as much as we could ourselves.
Oh,
So like I didn't hire a general contractor. I did all that.
wow.
You know,
Okay.
we did the gosh, what all did we do? I think we did the drywall, we did the paint, the trim, the cabinets, the flooring, the tile. We did all that stuff ourselves, me and my son.
Your son? Wait a minute.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, because I want to show some pictures on that.
Yeah.
Hold on. Bear with me.
And obviously I had some great friends come help along the way,
Whoops.
but
Well,
it was a year and a half of, getting out of work every night and come here work till 2, 3 in the morning,
yeah.
grab a shower and head back to work.
Wow. Yeah, okay. I can see why you might say that then. Just a sec, because these are really precious. And right, here we go. How old is your son in here?
How old is he?
Yeah, in these pictures here,
And these ones, he's probably about 9 or 10.
he's 9 or 10. So
Yep.
he's
So
seeing how to do this in real quality. I mean, you don't have a roof like that, a ceiling like that in every home. That's for darn sure. And the scaffolding. I mean, it's 100%. So he's learning it beautifully. Sorry, that's the house. I wanted to bring up the other two pictures. I thought that was precious.
yeah, it's man, he's such a good kid. It's not like I ask him or tell him, hey, we're doing this. If he sees you working, he's jumping in. He's not going to ask if he can help. He's just jumping in and he's getting it done. It's one of my favorite traits that he has.
That's
He's just
fantastic.
a very driven, motivated kid. It's
Okay. So
makes
tell
me
me what's
super
going
proud.
on in this picture here because I think I know, but I would like to be clear because
Yeah.
he's learning some real good skills. What's happening
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. We're laying some flooring. So I was putting it in place and he was hammering it in.
That is so wonderful. I love the way that you're really studying it, and it's so cool. And oops, wait, there's that one. Wait, why can't I manage my pictures? I'm so there we go. This is the one that I thought, wow, you can wait, but it's not on the screen. Oh my God, I'm all right. All I can say is I'm sorry. I thought I knew what I was doing. I haven't shared pictures for a little while, and that's obvious, but I'm going to have to practice. So this one here is very, very special to me because I can see the quality of the paint. I can see the prep. I can see everything that you guys are doing and the skill of applying it properly. It is beautiful. It's just awesome. And is he enjoying it as much as he appears to be?
Absolutely. He loves it. If he can, anything he can do to help, he loves. And, my wife and I are both the same way. If there's anything we can do to help somebody out, it makes us feel great and we love doing it. So
I
he
love
picked that up from us, I think, and just ran with it. And yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So now your painting company, New View Paint, is going and strong. At what point did you decide to explore real estate in a more general way and
Yeah.
lending,
So,
things like that? Tell us a little bit about where you're at now. You're wearing the Sub 2 hat.
oh,
I
yeah.
don't have anything Sub 2. I just realized that. Oops, sorry. I just realized it. I haven't finished setting up. I'm not good at that stuff. But I used to have a little Sub 2 thing, and I can't believe I
Yeah.
don't even have one. So
So,
talk to me about, and you went to Squat Up, obviously. So talk to me about when you decided, hey, I want to learn more about this as a whole and what you're doing now.
yeah, absolutely. So back when COVID was going on, and here in Michigan, if you got COVID, you couldn't go to work for 2 weeks, So sure enough, I got COVID and I was stuck in the house for 2 weeks and I was going to lose my mind. So I just started getting books shipped from Amazon, and so I just, for whatever reason, I just grabbed a whole bunch of real estate books and just went to town. And even after I went back to work, I bet I read 15, 20 books in a matter of a few months and then jumped all over YouTube and just started diving in head first.
Which books
I'm
did you
almost like a
start off?
drug addict. When I find something I like, I just go as hard as I can.
Yep, yep, I get it. Tell me, tell me which books you started with. Like which ones affected you?
So of course I started with Rich Dad Poor Dad because that's what everybody tells you to start with, and it was great. And then I jumped from there to Ken McElroy, who is the guy that Robert Kiyosaki uses for his real estate,
Yep.
and read everything he had. And then I went through all of Brandon Turner's stuff. Uh, came into Bigger Pockets, all that, and then I finally found Sub 2, and jumped on board with that, and it was a great decision.
So when you started with Bigger Pockets and Brandon and because I joined them before I joined Sub 2 also, and I also joined Anderson Advising, and that's where I met Pace. Meaning that he was on. I know he doesn't like Anderson Advising, but I am grateful to them because they had him on a podcast, and that was the first time I met him, and I was like, "What's this guy saying?" Wait, and it made me curious, and that's when I went to YouTube, and Gator was just it was before Gator got started. And Gator was how I found out about him. And then later I learned about Sub 2. So, but when I was in Bigger Pockets, I was exploring markets. Like I was still in Vancouver, COVID time, the whole thing. And trust me, Vancouver was extremely strict. I think it might have even been 3 weeks or something that you couldn't go out. But and at the same time, when it comes to COVID, so many people died. So many people died. So, we did what our government told us to do. And I was looking at markets in the Monterey Peninsula area because that's where I'd like to live eventually because of Bigger Pockets. Were you doing any of that or were you just really learning? Talk to us. You consumed a lot. Books, YouTube, let's go. How did you start to take action? What kind of action have you taken? Where are you at with it now?
Yeah, so I actually jumped on with a local team here in Michigan that was doing wholesale,
Okay.
and they brought me in and, let me learn from them.
Through sub two or through what?
Yep. Yep. They were through sub two.
Okay.
And, yeah, I worked with them for a couple of years and
Wait, that was not Gabby, was it?
nope, nope, unfortunately, nope.
It's okay. A couple of years ago, she was probably still working at her job. But
Yeah,
I love Gabby. Gabriella is,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know about you, but our Michigan group is so strong. We've got just such a good group of people.
in huge part because of her.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Prior to her, there was another lady, and it was sporadic. It wasn't consistent. I know when Gabriella jumped in, I was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And she goes, "You watch me." And she just rolled her sleeves up and then just kept banging it. And you had Jamil and Pace come out and visit you. Here I
Yeah,
am in Chicagoland now. Chicagoland makes Michigan look like a little pocket. Yes. Have they come? Not yet. They'll be coming in, I think it's November, thanks to Rhea. Shout out to Rhea Campbell. I'm so looking forward to her event. So, finally. And then he's going to start on his journey all over the world, sort of thing. So, yeah, Michigan has a fantastic, community set up and going.
yeah. I mean, there's meetups on every corner of the state. Phenomenal people that put them on, and just outside of the meetups and everything, it's just a genuine good group of people. Like, there's someone that's doing anything you want to do in real estate. There's somebody in our group that's doing it, and they've got no problem helping you figure out how to do it, helping you get started, helping you problem solve.
So, how did wholesaling go for you? And how long did you do it? And what happened?
So yeah, I worked with them guys for probably close to 2 years,
Wow.
and
Okay.
and I never really loved it.
I don't think I've met too many wholesalers who say they do love it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
They accept it as the way to start today money. Some of them become quite successful, but not very many. A lot of people lose their shirts. What do they call it? Being $99 a month to death. You know,
Yeah,
because you need $99 a month for the CRM, $99 for this, 99 for that, 99 for this, and it's a lot more expensive, and it's a grind, a real grind.
yep.
So I get it. Doing it for 2 years, that's really a commitment to it. Good for you.
No, thank you. Yeah. But like I said, I didn't really enjoy it. Even when I would get a win and get an assignment fee or something, I didn't really get excited about it. I don't know why. It just didn't hit me right. And then one day I came across a retiring landlord, and it was too big of a deal for me to figure out on my own. Never owning any properties before. And so I reached out to another sub two person here, Amy Rendy, and we've been partners on that portfolio for a couple of years now. I believe it was
It was a
32
portfolio.
doors.
How
Yep,
many?
yep. I think
How
it was
many?
32 doors,
Holy
somewhere around the 30
camote!
range. Yep. So
Okay. I'm sorry. Give me the name of the person again.
Amy Rendy.
Of course, Amy. Yeah,
Yep.
wonderful. That must have been quite a learning experience.
Oh my goodness. And and it was so much fun too because we restructured this thing 100 different ways. It literally probably took us 7 or 8 months to close this property, and it was a good thing that we had such a good relationship built with the seller because most people would have probably kicked us in the butt and told us to get on. But once again, that's what I like doing is building those relationships. So, well, yeah, we restructured this thing 100 different ways, and we would go to different TCs and stuff, and they'd say, "Oh, there's no way you guys can do this," but we just knew we could, and so we finally figured it out, and we ended up closing that one on a Morby method deal, and this was a few years ago before it was really popular, so we didn't really know how to do it, and
So,
so
who
yeah, it
did
was a great
they help
learning
you?
experience.
Who did you get to put it over the finish line?
We used Jay Holder. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Jay did a great job. Walked us right through everything.
Nice. Nice. Shout out to Jay Holder,
Absolutely.
who will be on 1 week before you.
Oh, beautiful.
He's going to be on this Monday. You'll be on the following Monday. That's
I
so
love
funny.
it. Yep.
That's fantastic. And a Morby method on a portfolio. Yes, I'd like to hear more about that. I don't know if I should be asking you or him. I mean, it's done now. Um, Well, that would be a very, you know what? Maybe I'll have both of you come back on and maybe even Amy to talk about that specific deal.
Hey, that'd be amazing.
I think that would be give a lot of value because you just finished talking about the importance of a relationship. To make it go for let it go for to keep working on it for 7 months, I immediately thought, oh my god, that's almost the gestation period of having a baby. Like right away, that's I know what that means. That's a long time.
Yep.
So it would be interesting to talk with Amy and see, and let's find out whether we could get you guys both on with Jay, talk about how you came across it, all the little ups and downs. That I've not seen. I have not seen a portfolio and where something takes that long to get it figured out. And good for you for not giving up and for seeing it through.
No, thank you. I'm not very good at quitting.
Hey, you know what? Jay Holder got me in trouble because he's been posting, about how much weight loss he has had and how
My
hard he's working.
goodness.
And I watched him and I was like, okay, Effie, what's wrong with you? And I just jumped in. And I jumped in, and it's kind of like over my head. It's 20,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
And I'm almost killing myself, but I'm not going to stop. I said August. It's going to go through August. And when I was recording with him, I was explaining that next month I'm going to have to change it, shorten it for time wise, because it takes a long time.
Yeah.
And instead go for more for speed. But now he's got me on this thing where I can see myself in another year actually being fit because I'm not fit.
I've been following you. I see you get them steps in. It's great to see. I love it.
Well, I have had other people say, thank you, Effie, you're inspiring me. And I feel like saying, go to Jay.
But that's just it. That's what I love about groups and communities. And we all inspire each other, help each other out, push each other, make each other better people.
Yeah. And if you see one that can do it, you're like, and what's wrong with me? Come on, I can do it. Like to get yourself, off the couch or whatever their situation may be. So that's fantastic. Very, very nice. So now you and Amy are partners. You have this 35 doors, that portfolio that must contribute to your life. Where is it taking up all your time? Because you still have the painting company, or are you doing anything else? Talk to me about the full picture because you have a son, you got a wife, you got a pup, you got all this stuff going on, which I think is fantastic. But when it comes to the real estate, I'm curious. That's more than enough. Have you explored any other things? And what about the financing for it? How did that look?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, hold that for the episode, that other episode. But talk to me about what else you're doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've done several more. We've got
Several
quite a few that
more.
we bought and sold on a wrap. Here in Michigan, we call them land contracts.
Yep.
We kind of bird several of them where we would, buy them and then rehab them, refinance them, and then we would sell them on a land contract. And the down
Okay.
payment, we'd get some money from the refinance, pay back our lenders, and then we'd
Hmm.
get a down payment, good down payment for the land contract.
Yep.
And then we still make a few $100 each month until the loan is paid off, or in some cases until we get the property back and have to sell it again. So, that's we're going through some of those right now, but that's all part of it. It's just,
It is.
you're going to face challenges every day, and it's just a matter of mindset. Is it a challenge or is it an opportunity to do better?
That's right. And if you can plan for it, if you're doing a wrap, we know that the rate of falling out can be pretty high. And, what do you do when that happens? If you can see it as an opportunity to wrap it a little differently next time, or to make it into to change the exit strategy or whatever you need to do, then it's going to work. If, on the other hand, you go, oh my God, it didn't work and look what's happening, I got to walk away too, then it's a disaster. So
Yeah.
I've seen both. So I know what you mean.
And that's another good thing about being, having a team and partners and stuff is one of us might be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're dealing with this again. And the other one's like, come on, suck it up. We're going to get this done. We'll figure it out. And then the next time it's going to be the opposite. You're going to be the one saying, come on, suck it up. And they're going to be like, oh my God, I can't deal with this again. So it's just great working with teams. And, we're trying real hard to build out a team right now. We're working with Start Virtual to get our books in order because
Oh, good for you.
neither one of us are worth a crap at that stuff. You
Yeah, I've
know,
heard good things about them.
Yeah, it's we've only been working with them for a couple of weeks, and they're even organizing us, so that tells you something there because we're not the most organized people. We are very much visionary people.
Two visionaries. That's great.
It is, but it's funny because we're both such yes people. Like, oh my gosh, yes, let's do it, let's go after it. We almost need somebody on our team to just be a no person every once in a while. Like, hey, think about this for a minute, you guys. We just go for it. You know.
Well, I think that's very good. Very good. How are you finding the properties that you are getting under contract? You and Amy?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've
You're not
bought some
doing
from
wholesale.
wholesalers. I'm sorry.
You're not.
No, I'm not. We've bought some from wholesalers. I'm a big believer in tell everybody you meet what you're doing, and so a lot of people will say, "Oh, my grandpa's got a few rental properties and he's ready to retire," or I've got this house that I got inherited and then don't want anything to do with. So just a lot of word of mouth, just talking to anybody that'll listen. Once again, just building relationships, and that's worked out pretty good for us. I mean, even that portfolio that we got, my paint rep from Sherwin-Williams, it was one of her clients that was getting ready to retire, and she knew what
Yeah.
I was trying to do, so she set the two of us up, and we gave her a nice little finder's fee when it finally closed, and she was super excited. We were super excited.
Cool. That's
Yeah,
really cool. Are they all geographically near you?
not exactly.
Okay, do tell.
There's probably about 4 or 5 that are within a half hour of me, but most of them are with a little over an hour away.
Okay, okay, that's not too bad. I mean, it's not as if they're in Tennessee or California.
Yeah,
If you had to,
absolutely.
you can get there. It's just you don't want to do it on a daily basis.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, for this first couple of years, we have been there for a daily basis. We've been flipping we also bought a 4 unit there that needed a full rehab, everything from plumbing, electric, everything else, right on through. So we still have been there every day.
Wow.
And that's been another one of them learning things too. When we bought that property, we see we checked to make sure permits were pulled because a lot of the plumbing and electric and stuff like that was done, new HVAC. And so we checked to see permits were pulled. And then when I called the inspector to get the power turned on, he said, well, then permits were pulled, but they were never finalized. So at that point, he said, your options are either to rip everything out, start over again, or find the contractor that pulled the permits and get him to agree to finish the work. And
So
we
what?
found a couple that would.
Yeah.
And then we found one that said they would and took advantage of the situation. And, they gave us a bid for one price to do the whole job. And then about a third of the way through, they sent us an invoice for double the amount because they knew we were in such a bad situation that we didn't really have many options. So, just people trying to take advantage. There's a million things that
The
go
first thing
wrong.
that comes into my mind is wanting to borrow Derek Barton's baseball bat.
Yeah, there you
I don't know.
go.
You know, Derek, he is a professional baseball player. I feel like saying, Derek, give me your baseball bat.
Yep,
How
yep.
dare they? That's terrible. I'm so
It
sorry.
is. But yeah, I mean, it's frustrating when you're going through it, but you just keep going and you find your way.
Yes. Yes. And that's where I think it makes a huge difference if you've got another partner, a partner.
Yep,
So you can
yep.
cry on each other's shoulders and pick each other up and then kick each other's butts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get moving. Yes. Wow. So how far along is that duplex? Fourplex, you said, right?
Yep, it's a fourplex. I would say it's about 85%.
Nice. Nice. Well, when it comes to actually filling it with tenants, you'll have to be very, very careful because they have to be the best of the best after that.
Yeah, it should be a good property for us. It's going to cash flow really well once we get it done. It's just been such a setback in the time frame of it, dealing with the permit issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're getting there. We've had some amazing lenders that have been great working with us, and we kept them informed the whole way, and
Good.
told them what was going on, so they knew. They're getting progress pictures. We're not hiding anything from them,
Hmm.
and they're hey, we're getting our payments on the first of every month. Great. If we've told them if you need your money back beforehand, just let us know and we'll figure it out. And they've been great to say, you know what, just let it ride. You guys have been taking care of us, so that's been amazing.
That's great. That's a real lesson to any of you who are out there who are thinking you are going to need a lender, because I'm a lender. That's the way you handle it. You just make sure that your relationship is really strong and that you're very upfront and that you give them an out. Because you know what? Things happen. I know someone who had lent a fair amount of money and then his wife got really sick. So he was just holding his breath until he could get that money back because he needed it. But he was ghosted by the people he lent it to. And he ended up, you know, well, he's still suing them to get it back. And that is not okay. That is not okay. He didn't even go to them and say, I need this money back right away now. He just said, okay, it's going to be another 3 months. I'm going to make it work until then. And then things had gone sour and they just didn't communicate. The wrong way to do it. So
Yeah.
your lenders, are you finding them in Sub 2 or Gator or what?
Yep. Yep. Pretty much all of our connections are from Sub 2. I mean, there's no matter what you need in this community, in this business, you can find in this community.
That is an understatement for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
100%.
And it's not just, once again, I'll go back to building relationships, and the people we work with are people we genuinely like, care for, trust.
Yep. Yep.
And I hope they feel the same about us, that they're willing to work with us. And it's just kind of, it's such a people
Is
thing.
yep.
So
We
many
just
people want to
we
treat
just
other
need a
people
few
in this
more
business like a
contractors.
transaction.
We need more contractors in Sub 2 so
Yeah.
that we can have, like those ones that tried to take advantage of you.
Yep. Yep.
That
I'm
anyway.
glad you bring that up because I try to reach out to as many people when I see them make their introductory post and just say, hey, let's jump on a call, see if we can help each other out at all. And so many guys are like, oh man, I'm just a contractor. And I try to tell them, I'm like, you are gold in this, this thing. Like everybody needs a good contractor, someone that can run legit numbers for them. And, so
And really do the work for
yeah,
sure.
yep.
Absolutely. I can attest to that. It was totally, yeah, absolutely big time. So, how many? You've got the 35 doors and now you've got four. Where are you guys up to? That's a good amount of number.
I think we're right around 40.
Nice.
Yep.
Congrats.
Thank you.
What's your plan? What are you and Amy thinking of, like, a year, 3 years, 5 years? What are you thinking?
Absolutely. So our biggest thing that we're working on right now is we're setting up a fund, and we're trying to work with local foundations and stuff that are helping out veterans, abused women, children, trafficking victims. And so we're working with those local groups to try to house these people that need a place to stay. Like anything we're trying to do in real estate, we're trying to do it with a purpose of helping somebody else. And, just with personal backgrounds, like it means a lot to me to be able to help people that have been abuse victims and trafficking and things along those lines. And, when you're in those situations, you can't really start to even think straight or heal while you're in that situation until you get out and are in a safe place where you feel comfortable, safe, secure. And a lot of these people don't have a safe place to go. And so a lot of times they end up going right back to the person that was abusing them because it's the only place they have to go. So there's a lot of great foundations out here that are trying to help with that, but their biggest issue is housing. And so we're going to try to fill that void with the housing sort of situation of it
Nice.
and
Nice.
try to, raise some awareness, raise some money to buy these properties. We're working with some great people, Joshua Son, Naeli Davis. They're going
Nice.
to help us out with the fund, and they're
Nice.
just both phenomenal people. I just met them at the Owners Club retreat in Monterey, and just instantly, as soon as you meet them, you're just like, these are people I want to spend time with, just genuine good people. And it's been great. So
That's
yeah, we're going to try
fantastic.
working.
So, have
Yeah.
they done a fund before?
Yeah, they both have raised money. I think that's pretty much what they do full time. And, we have not. We've been setting one up and going through all the lawyers and all that fun stuff. And once again, that's not our forte, paperwork and those type of things. So once again, we're just going to try to build our team out broader and wider and, bring in people that are better than us at the things that we're not good at and see where we can go from there.
Good. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. I don't know enough about this area to know the answer to this. Mission wise, I more than love it. I'm in awe and super, super impressed. As a business, how does that work? I mean, you know, providing housing is really important. And like you said, it's the core. But how can you do that and not lose money? I mean, not this, I can see that this is a mission. It's not, you're not doing this to make money on the backs of these people. That's not what, they don't have money. It's not about that. It's about helping them. But still, a house does have to be set up properly. It's got to be safe. It's got to be all of that. You don't want to put them in a slum situation. So how does the business, that part work where you can do that?
Yeah, so basically that's why we're trying to work with the local foundations in whatever area that we buy in, because they've got money allocated to house people, but a lot of times they're putting them in crappy hotels where there's, drugs and everything else going on there, putting them right back in the same kind of situation they came out of, just because they don't have anywhere else to put them. And so they've got some money set aside for housing. They just don't have the housing to put them in. So a lot of them, they'll get them right on like a Section 8 program, or they'll have funding for 6 to 8 months to help people get back on their feet. And then sometimes they'll give them money to help them purchase or give them security deposit for their own rental, things like that.
Okay.
So there's a lot of good programs out there, a lot of nonprofits that are helping, and they're doing everything they can. They just don't have the housing portion of it, and that's where we feel we can fit in really well, because that's the only thing we know how to do.
So you and Amy are going out, and I have no idea what you're going to do with the fourplex, but since we've mentioned it, I'm going to just bring that into this imaginary picture. So you get the fourplex done properly, and it's up, and it's now a property that needs filling. Am I correct in thinking that the foundations and the nonprofits and that sort of thing would have programs that would be able to say, yes, we can give you X amount for rent for 3 people to stay in this place? And then you're like, okay, we're good. Let's do this for whatever, 2 years, 3 years, whatever amount of time you want to commit to it. And then they bring the people in to the home.
Yep,
Is that
absolutely.
okay?
And that building there's another fourplex right behind us. We almost like our parking lots butt up to each other. And once again, me just talking to anybody that'll listen, I was talking to a guy that was over on that side of the fence, and he ended up coming over, and he's actually building that one out to be the same kind of shelter, religion based, trying to teach people a better way to live that are in a bad situation. And he asked if he could possibly rent a room from us, and then, bring some more people over there that needed more one-on-one type care and help. So, we might even be able to partner with him on that.
That's cool. How
Yep.
exciting.
We've reached out to several drug and alcohol rehab places. And we actually just tried one here in Jackson. We had a 10-bedroom, 5-bath house.
Wow.
Yeah, and we tried the drug and alcohol rehab, and they were just like, "Oh, it's too big for us. We can't handle that many people." And we tried guys that were just getting out of prison that needed a place to stay, that weren't, nonviolent offenders type things, And yeah, that one didn't work out. And finally, we found a lady who works in the foster care system, and she has 7 or 8 kids of her own. So she needed a big house anyway, but she wanted several extra rooms for kids that were aging out and couldn't stay in the foster care system anymore, but needed some more time to get on their feet.
My
So we
God.
were able to rent this house to her, and I and 100% honesty, I think we're breaking even on this house, hopefully, just so that it would work for her to be able to do that and help some kids out that need some help.
That particular group is really, it just goes right into my heart, right into my heart, because I just feel they're just really dumped. They're not prepared. It's not fair. It's not right. I feel for them very much. I think that's really, I hope it goes to that.
Yeah, yeah. They've only been in there a couple of months, but it's gone well so far.
Nice. So
Um,
they're in.
yeah, yep, they're in. Yep.
Good. Excellent. So then down the road, you're thinking of building more along those lines, like getting more properties that way and building out a fuller team.
Yep, absolutely. But, we enjoy doing the acquisition side of things. So managing all these properties has been a bit of a challenge. Luckily, one of my friends that has worked for me has jumped right in and wanted to learn about real estate. And so he's been helping us a ton with the management,
Nice.
all the service calls, all the inspections, all that type of stuff. And he's been just crushing it. So we actually just yesterday offered to bring him in as a partner. So he's going to buy in with us and become a third partner.
Very nice.
So hopefully
Congratulations.
we can. Yeah, yeah. It's and like I say, it's just all about helping other people out. It's always going to come back to help you out. It's a great person that's doing a great job. Let's reward them. And
Yes, absolutely. Keep him. Encourage him to stay and do more for
yep,
sure. What is your
absolutely.
company name that you and Amy are running?
I don't even think we have a company name. We've got several LLCs here and there.
You haven't branded yourself yet?
No, I know Amy does a phenomenal job of it on her own.
She does social media?
Yep, yep, yep. She sure does. And I've been trying to push myself, and so I probably should have told you this from the beginning, but 25 years ago, I was so shy that I wouldn't even order through a fast food restaurant. I couldn't go through the drive-through and order fast food. I couldn't call and order a pizza. My friends used to tease me that most people say more in an hour than I do in a whole day.
Aren't you
So
glad that
just
you moved out of that?
yeah, 100%. And it's just an amazing feeling to be able to grow and do new things, and it's been great. This whole community has just been life changing for me.
In regards to that personality challenge, I have to say your son doesn't look like he has that issue.
Nope, I have
He just
right from the
seems it.
time he was little, I would encourage him to, hey, just walk up and say hi to somebody, because I didn't want him to go through the same issues I went through. So he's very good at just starting a conversation and being himself. And
There's just a strong light that comes from him, which emits confidence and stability. So I haven't met him. I haven't seen him in real life, but it just seems like he would not have a problem, not have that problem. That's a painful problem to have as a child, to be so worried about what's going to come out of your mouth or what people think.
yeah, yeah,
Believe it or not, I had it for about a year and a half because when we first came to from Greece to Canada to Vancouver, I didn't speak English. Now, children pick up the language very quickly, but I had an accent and people didn't like foreigners. That's what they called us. No, they called us aliens back then. And I was afraid to open my mouth. I was afraid that people would. So, I mean, honestly, I remember going for walks and being in my room and practicing saying words, practicing. I got rid of that accent pretty quick because I had to. But I remember the fear of what are they going to think? Are they going to think I'm stupid? They're going to dislike me. The fear. I do recall it, and it's not a good thing. So I'm so happy that you don't have that anymore. You're very
yeah, yeah.
confident.
And it's funny that you bring up the fear thing because it's so prevalent in our lives. There's so many things to be scared of, and once you just get past that, so many doors open up, and you know, just with the real estate thing especially, I was a person that wanted to know every little detail before I jumped into something. And I remember Pace saying, you don't need to know all the steps, you just need to know the next step. And it was just one of those things that hit me right in the chest. And it was like, oh my goodness, like, yeah, absolutely. Do this step and then figure out the next step. And
That's
so it
right.
really opened me up to be able to just go for things.
I think that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I look forward to when you guys brand yourself.
Yeah.
You have such an incredible mission, and both of you are really excellent people. So I think that it will be very interesting to see what you decide on because I think that that is an important thing. I mean, what the Effie, okay, I know it's not serious, it's not whatever, but it is a little catchy. And I didn't think of it. I have to give credit to Jeremy Davis for that. But I know the power of branding, of being able to have people say, oh, that's catchy. What's that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm aware of it now too. And I fought it. I fought it right from the beginning. I didn't want to get on social media when I joined Sub 2 and they talked me into it. And I'm actually posting some videos here and there now and some pictures and trying.
Good.
It's
And
just not a natural thing for me. So we'll get
hey,
over it.
again, it wasn't natural for me. If you go back and you take a look at my very first clips, it was almost like I wanted to smack Pace for pushing me, and it was all because of my nose.
Really?
My nose, yeah, because I have a Greek nose and it's very long, and I always
Come on.
All right, for decades, I would always be behind the camera
Kidding
so
me.
that I wouldn't have anyone look at my notes. As you age, it's a little different. I got over it finally. But honestly, it was not easy, and I still find it difficult. And if I do catch sight of myself sometimes, and when I catch sight of myself, I'm like, oh boy, look away, look away.
Oh man. See, and that just kills me because I know we were talking last week, and I was telling you that you and I were on the same newbie Zoom. What, 4 years ago, back when we first joined Sub 2, and you said, "Oh, really? I don't even remember." And that was because nobody remembers anybody else that was on that newbie Zoom because you were the star of it. As soon as you started talking, you stole the whole show. No one else wanted anything to do with anybody else. We were just attracted to you and wanted to know you and more about you.
I don't understand that part still, but I am respecting it because when Pace and Abraham announced that I was starting my podcast way before I was ready and all, it is interesting because as you go along, you kind of understand, you get these lessons that people will say, you affected me this way, you affected me that way. I saw what you were doing here and it's inspired me. And you're like, really? Me? And then you're like, what do I do with this? And when you think about it, it is very much like what you're talking about with you and Amy and what the Effie or whatever. It's a responsibility. You do need to get over it. And I am so touched. I'm so touched that you remembered me on that first podcast. The newbie. Honestly, I hope I get a chance to see it at some point because I don't remember it. I frankly was guaranteed that I was going to pay the money that it's to get into this mentorship, which to me wasn't cheap. I was going to be in the back of the room. I was going to be looking over all the heads of all these younger people. No one would even notice me. And I'd be so happy to be, taking my notes and learning and, doing a little thing. And then all of a sudden, so how lucky do I feel that I can bring you on and have you share your story and have you explain the effect you're having and where you're going.
Thank you. I sure appreciate it.
It could have been that you could just have stayed in your lane, but no, you came out and, as luck would have it, you and Amy just, and a couple of other people just kind of hit it and you were in the right place. And of course, pace is huge in all this. And now you're doing so much more. And so am I. I'm just, I am humbled. I am humbled. So I feel super blessed and responsible, responsible to, um, push it forward, push it forward.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about where people can see you on your social media.
I mainly just do Facebook and Instagram, and it's just Brandon Lammon on Facebook, and I think it's blammon04 on Instagram.
B Lammon04.
Yep.
Are there any periods in between?
Nope.
So B for Brandon, Lammon 04
Yep.
for IG.
Absolutely.
And for Facebook, it's Brandon Lammon. Okay, and this is why you guys need a brand.
I know it.
I'm
I know it.
serious. I have what the Effie my homepage, and now I had too many people on there, and Facebook won't let you have more. Blah blah blah. Long story. Got a little bit of advice, and now I have a professional business. What the Effie that all I do is I start there because I can't accept friends there, and then I throw it to my personal, and then throw it out to my socials, and that's it, man. That's all I do. But people remember what the Effie. So you want, I'm really, really looking forward to when you and Amy brand your mission because it will become bigger than you. In some ways, mine is a curse because I'm stuck with, being responsible to that name. Whereas if it was called What the Heck, maybe I could sell it sometime. I could back out, or anything like that. But whatever. Anyhow, I want to say thank you very, very much for sharing. I think it is so incredible what you guys are doing. I want to talk more with you. I want you and Amy and Jay to come on and explain that portfolio. No doubt about it. but I also want to know how I can step in and help in any other way for the mission that you guys have.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, you're doing it right now. You're getting us out there and getting us some exposure for our fund and our mission, and we're just kind of in the infancy of it all, and we're trying to get it put together and get a solid game plan on how we can make it work and make a difference in other people's lives. Why we're also building for our families.
Of course, of course. Um, well, I just feel like there's so much more I should be able to do. So let's put that on the agenda.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Yes. And for the moment, I think that we will sign off and say thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Thank you, Effie.
we'll see you next time.